Hello guys, MikuChibi here and welcome to part 2 of this new series where I make a new account from scratch to see how far I can progress with the new system that I have improved compared how it was 5 years ago. So you can see I did some summoning on my dailies twice just to see if I can get something, and we did get a decent 4-star that we can use for future build. But for now I'm gonna stick with the build I have currently, and later on I'm gonna level the new ones and progress with it. So yeah, we left off with floor 9, which is the elf boss. And yeah, floor 8 we defeated the witch one, and now we're currently more on to floor 9. So this is, people say is resemble the, I think season 1, second half, the Alfheim arc, the guy that kidnapped as astronaut. But yeah, I mean, it looks like him, but yeah. And so this one is pretty easy because we have rush. So with rush we can use brute force and go through everything and defeat it real fast. So I'm really happy that early, for those players that get early awakening, can use rush early to brute force the story without any issue. But something I stumbled is that I didn't have a lot of resource to level up my skills and stuff, which is kind of important. Once you start with a new game, you want to do all the daily stuff early, because you do unlock the dailies pretty early once you complete floor 1. So you should do all the dailies as soon as possible you can, especially the daily dungeon, because daily dungeon provide a lot of good resource. So any skill materials that you need, like a skill transform, a skill to level up your skills, or even gear materials that you need. So early on, I will say you should focus on those, and also later on you want to focus on release crystal, and in late game you might focus on coal, because coal is pretty hard to achieve right now or obtain. So, and it does cost a lot to consume. And after floor 9 we got floor 10, which is Japanese style with samurai theme. And yeah, this is a real nice map, I would say. This is the first time we get a real big one. And also when floor 10 was released back in the day, there was a lot of hackers, and the hacker made a bug where all the mobs spawn immediately, and the more they kill, the more mobs will spawn. So we had over 100 mobs in one map, which is more than regular. So it was nice to farm weapon XP, but of course we didn't have really strong gear, so we easily died. But yeah, but floor 10 is really beautiful and it gives a lot of nostalgia and also some bad memories, but it should be fine. And yeah, floor 10 we are fighting the samurai. And just like the elf that likes to dash, this samurai also likes to dash. And if you get a boss or this samurai that likes to dash, really unlucky. But still, we're glad we can use rush to brute force and kill it really easily. Yeah, rush is so good, not gonna lie. Because back in the day we didn't have a rush. Rush was released in 3rd anniversary. First anniversary got first, no, second anniversary. Rush got released second anniversary, so it took us 2 years to get it. So just imagine we had to use our burst skill, which was released on the first anniversary. After floor 10, we are fighting floor 11. We're clearly trying to conquer, we're gonna fight the Griffin that is weak to frost like samurai. This one does like to use his thunder to paralyze you, which is really annoying. But with rush, you should be able to brute force it. So yeah, so if I compare it to how it was, it is easier to clear the floor with just the awakening, because awakening skills is really strong when you rush. When you rush, you're gonna get a small boost. With the small boost, you can deal more damage and clear it. But yeah. So if you have an awakening skill on you, or you got it from your free pulls, or when you do your gacha, make sure you equip it. Even though it's not the main weapon you're using, you should equip it. Unlike me, even though I have the dagger card that I got, I'm not even using it. So when you complete floor 11, they're gonna do a small talk about the ingots, which you shouldn't worry about. I'm not sure why they introduced the ingot pretty early. You introduced the ingot on floor 48, which takes a while, so they should remove that. Well, on floor 12, I noticed something interesting. Kohara is on the other side. I can't even, as you see, there's a barrier, a wall, which you can go past, and somehow Kohara managed to go past it. And that is kind of interesting. I guess it's only for me. Hopefully no new players experience that. For me, because I have switching multiple accounts, that thing can happen. And yeah, so Kohara is kind of bugged with switching around, but yeah. So floor 12, we're gonna fight the crab boss. And this is a unique crab boss that has 3 weakness: frost, blunt, and slash. And also has a break mode. You can see a break attack. And I believe he's the second boss to have a break. The first to have the break was back in solo ranking, when solo ranking existed. The first one was the axe break, and now the crab is sword break. So this is where I mentioned before, Man of the Day is really useful here, only once. So yeah, so I have Man of the Day equipped on my 4 slot to use when he shows the sword break. So right now he's trying to make sure he switches his element, and of course he's starting with blunt, and after that he's gonna switch to frost. You can see he dived in, and now he has a frost weakness. So of course I'm switching, so that is good to have at least 2 of the type. And now he can switch to slash. So you can see we are using the break, you see there, I'm breaking it, then use our second skill and use break again. And now we can use brute force it. So yeah. So Man of Day is pretty useful this time, and later on the break gonna be useful on floor 100. So I can remove it and have something better, which we're gonna get from this floor when we complete floor 12. We get a defense break. Or defense debuff, I mean. So yeah, and now we are leveling up our stuff, because I noticed that we should be leveling up them now and see how much we can do with the resource we have. And of course, when you're new, you don't have that a lot of resource, and it takes a while to grind all those things, so yeah. There aren't that many limited. I already made a video how to farm the skill materials, so you can check it out if you want. If you don't know how to farm these materials, it's really easy, but it uses the time consuming, so yeah. So keep doing dailies. If you're casual, just keep doing your daily dungeon and you should be fine. You should be able to get a lot, because they have improved the dungeon. So yeah. So you can see I just made a quick little build, not the perfect one of course. You should have better skills than me, but I like to use the skills I have right now. So let's move on to floor 13, where I noticed that it kinda get a little bit harder. Especially for floor 13, the dungeon boss and the labyrinth boss, they have high fire resistance. So my sword doesn't work here, so I have to use another element. So frost gonna go here. And yeah, and they're also gonna introduce a new weapon type, which is a rare one. It's called the Integral Series Weapon Series, or I think it's called Integral Weapons. This is where you can get the stone as a rare drop, which you use to craft a new weapon that's really strong. But I don't really like it, because you can get the same stats if you reach floor 61 and complete it. Because once you reach floor 61, you can buy this stuff, the new floor 61 gear and armor, to upgrade them to 3-star, and they should be the same stats as the integral, which you get pretty early. So you can decide if you want to farm that or just continue progressing through the story and try to reach floor 61. I would say integral takes a little bit more time consuming to do, so you can do that if you want. They do have increased the drop rate for labyrinth, so it is more easier to farm for the materials for the weapon, when compare how it was back then. Back then you had to do like at least 1,000 runs to get at least 1 stone. So that was the drop rate back then, especially during board quest. But yeah. So to talk about a little about the stone, the item that you can get is a rare drop with pretty low chance to get, and you can decide if you want to farm it or not. Mostly people recommend do not, because we have floor 61, which is basically the same, and you should more on try to progress through the story, because story doesn't have that big HP or isn't that really hard. Now floor 14, we are fighting the centaur, one of my favorite boss back in the day. I was a rapier main, of course, so I had frost weakness, and also this boss has a mechanic where it has stacking defense, which is really annoying, really hard. So most people didn't really like to use frost, or doesn't have any D-stack skills. And the strategy here is to destroy the crystal to remove 1 stack from the boss. So you have to do it 8 times to remove at least 8 stacks from it. You can remove the fully D-stack, so you're gonna stay at 1 always, which a lot of people actually miss about the tutorial or during the story. So destroy the crystal to remove the stack, but since you're awakening a little bit more stronger skill, you should be able to do it force it. But you just got to be careful with the AoE and stuns, because this one does hit a lot when you're early. It doesn't have really good gear like me, that are using floor 5 gear still, but that should be fine, because we are awakening, right? And yeah, this is also where I first time died to the boss, which doesn't really matter that much, but yeah, you can see I rushed and died immediately. The only thing I doesn't really care is that I die this, but I do lose a rush, which can be annoying, and it can take a little bit longer to fight it and defeat it. So make sure you have better gear than me. At least for 10 gear should be fine here. But you can still rock with floor 5 if you want to, or even beginner stuff if you are really lucky with the skills. So yeah, so just make sure you dodge everything, and hopefully you have enough revive crystals to use them. Don't use too many, because you're gonna need them in the future as well. So floor 14 completed, and now let's move on to the next floor, which is where people was kind of disappointed. Before that, we got a new skills, the 4-star fodder. This is really good for bow when you're doing party, and it's not the best fodder, of course. There's better ones, but if you don't have any good bow fodder, you can use it at the meantime until you get a better mount fodder. So next boss is the One-Eyed Beast. One-Eyed Beast is the floor 20 boss. So you might notice from floor 14 to floor 20, yes, back then they didn't have any materials, so they had to skip some floors to be able to continue with the story. There are many reasons why they had to skip. One is that the lore or the novel, I don't know, didn't have the resource to how the other floor was from floor 15 to floor 19. So they had to jump, and they have some as a resource for materials for floor 20. So I had to stick with that. And you might notice that they're skipping a lot of floors, but if you are new, you should be fine. It doesn't affect their story too much. And they're currently making a comeback where they're racing other floors. So currently we're going back, since after when you complete floor 100, you're gonna see other floors like floor 31, floor 56, and floor 53. They are the newest ones that are released. So they're gonna go back and try to release all the floors. Yeah. And that is complete of floor 20. And not the hardest, should be easy for you. And that is also floor 20 is the last evolution of the integral series weapon, where you can transform them to 5-star. And moving on, we are another floor skip. This is the floor 25, so from 20 to 25. So another 5 floor skip. We're fighting the Ashura, which is weak to frost. And this one should be a little bit easier, I believe, for me, because I have really strong spear set. So I just read the force. The only thing that I really hate about is they have to skip. Well, once you do your battle the boss, sometimes they just skip through when you reach a certain HP on the boss, just for story's sake, which I cannot hate. I just want to fight the boss immediately. Once it's defeated, then you can do your story. That's my opinion. But yeah, floor 25 was pretty easy, so clear with just floor 5 gear. And now they are introducing the new weapon series, which is the Nox series, Nox Integral series. The 3-star Nox have a better stat than the 5-star Integral, so you can start farming on this one if you want to, or you can skip this weapon series as well and try to focus on the Lux, because in my opinion, Lux weapon is a little bit flexible. You can use for every single content, even for high-end content if you want to. Lux weapon is just perfect for casual player that is playing this game for casual, so that's why maybe I'm gonna focus on Lux in the future, but we'll see. So this is floor 27. So this is another skip from 25 to 27. So you're gonna see a lot of skipping most of the series after floor 14. But stay tuned for that, because they're currently making chapter 2. So we're currently doing chapter 1. And yeah, this one should be fine. Not that really hard, as long as you follow and try to level up your gear, buy new gear. Don't buy too many gears, of course. To just buy when you feel that you're a little bit weaker or need to survive a little bit. And for me, that had played this game for 5 years, I know how to use my gear effectively, and yeah. So floor 27, you're fighting the Dalos, which is weak to blunt, and also use a lot of AoE abilities. So the strategy is to stay behind it and try to use your skill, because his skills does deal a lot of damage. So yeah, you might see me notice that I die somewhere when I try to rush and stuff. And yeah, Dalos is also the second boss to drop stones for Nox weapon. So you're gonna get, once you defeat Dalos, and if you're lucky to get a stone, then you can make your Nox weapon to 4-star if you want to. Otherwise, if you use casual, 3-star is fine. You don't need to upgrade the weapon. But if you're a collector, like to collect stuff, farm rare stuff, then it's fine. But you do need core metal, so just remember to farm core metal as well. But yeah, if you do have blunt weapon or blunt skills, use those. Should be easier to complete. But since I'm used to rocking with sword and spear, I'm gonna stick with that for now. And until I reach or complete floor 100, I'm gonna change a little bit of my settings. And also depends what skills I have gotten through my journey. So yeah, you see, not the biggest damage that some people does. And this boss does also a break mode, which you should be dodging, and there aren't that many break skills for maze. So make sure you dodge that, so you don't take a lot of big damage, and try to defeat it as soon as possible. So you should be fine here. So floor 27 is done, and the next floor is gonna be floor 35. So another big jump, but yeah. And that is the end of part 2 of this series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and stay tuned for part 3, which is coming soon. So take care now, and bye bye.